the senior transit planner here in Orange County, New York, and we're doing a webinar today on how to do business with Orange County and the DBE. So the goals of today's webinar is to inform folks, participants regarding the public transportation program or the transit program in Orange County and then the services we have and how we operate. We also want to provide information to potential program contractors regarding how to engage with DBE with Orange County or also the transit program. We want to go over what are the Orange County's goals for participation in the DBE program. What are the steps that potential DBEs need to be aware of to participate in the program here in Orange County? What are the potential services and programs available upcoming in the next couple of years, and how to learn about what those opportunities are and when they arise. I'll give a little background information on Transit Orange here in Orange County. Transit Orange is not an actual entity. It's a name that we came up with to try to be a clearinghouse for the various transit operations that we do have in Orange County. Orange County is a jar that does recipient for federal transit funds and New York State DOT funds involving transit. There's a whole number of different types of services that go through our office that we contract for. There's, again, because Transit Orange isn't an actual entity, it's just a clearinghouse for the various bus operators that we contract with, which run the gamut of commuter bus service, Coach USA, down to, there's local fixed route services in Newburgh, Middletown, and the Curious Jewel area, Monroe area. And there's 8 different municipalities that have a dial-a-ride program throughout the county, as well as the required paratransit in the areas that have the local fixed route bus. All those services are done under contract through this office. We don't operate anything, but we coordinate those services. We work closely with those operators to keep the service, to both the procurement of capital equipment, buses mainly, as well as pass through operating funds to them and work with them to keep the services, keep them afloat and change them as needed when changes arise with whether it be development or population. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Marlene Connor, who's on the line, who is our DBE expert for today's presentation. Marlene?
Great. Thanks, Rob. And what I wanted to do is to explain how people, for people who are entities in New York or want to do business in New York, how to get engaged in the FTA portion of the US DOT DBE program. And, then we'll talk through, as Rob said, what some of the potential opportunities might be and where folks might learn about what those opportunities are. In general, by way of background, for US DOT and FTA purposes, DBEs are considered for-profit small business concerns that have 51% ownership by folks that qualify, such as African Americans, Hispanics, women, Native Americans, Asian Pacific, because these categories just are part of what is categorized in the DOT program as qualified as socially or economically disadvantaged. Next slide. Next slide. And so so there's 2 ways to get engaged in this program. One is to, if you are a company that is based in New York, is to go through the New York State Uniform Certification Program, which is on the New York State DOT website. If you are not a New York State company or firm, and for example, we are not, we were certified by the state that we are approved in my case, Massachusetts, and then through Massachusetts and coordination with New York State, one can submit similar information to another state, submit your home information to New York State in order to be concerned as related as non-economically or as economically disadvantaged. Your personal net worth has to be 1.32 million or less, and the gross receipts of the company can't exceed $23.98 million. Next. So in order to do business in New York State, and as an important part of the FTA program is for the designated recipients to determine how much of the work that they do during the year will be put out with the hope and intent that DBE firms would look to participate. Orange County has chosen to use what's called census data and DBE directory approach to set up that, to get that number, which really is the number of qualified DBEs that are registered in New York State, divided by the total number of firms that are registered as doing business in New York State. And what that becomes is a base figure for relative availability for DBE purposes in New York State. Next. So how the number that was calculated for Orange County is 2.99% for the fiscal years of 2019-2020. Over the course of that 2-year period, Orange County anticipates awarding approximately $2.5 million in competitively bid Federal Transit Administration FTA assisted contracts. There are, within the construct of the FTA and the USDOT, there are industry classifications. It's a pretty complex series of numbers and statistics, but what we wanted to do, and on the next slide, we'll show you what some of those applicable industry classifications are that a firm would be required to be registered in as a DBE to do work for Transit Orange. And as you can see, there's a list here that ranges from bus and motor vehicle carriers, engineering services, transportation management consulting, and other professional and management development training, among other things. So these are some of the applicable categories to participate in work for Orange County. So again, there's a difference between being a New York State company or a company that is certified in a state that is not New York State. But that if you are a company that's not certified in New York State, that doesn't preclude you from being a certified DBE in New York State purposes. So just two different ways, and all of it would go through the New York State UCP process. One would be as a standalone New York company process, or submitting your application through your own home state, the information for your home state, and providing that to the New York State purpose. In both cases, there is an analysis of the information that you supplied, tax information, etc., typically an on-site interview, and then a certification, which is certified online, and it is good for an annual period of time. And there's no particular start and stop time. It doesn't need to be January 1st or July 1st. It can be anywhere along the way, but regardless, the certification would last you for a 12-month period. And there is then follow-up on an annual basis, certification that things haven't changed substantially with your company to recertify for an upcoming year process. And in order to become a vendor that gets procurement sent directly to you, you would email in New York State the Department of General Services, describe the product or services that you offer. That Department of General Services then would ensure that you get legal notices that you would also receive if you register through Empire State Purchasing through a service called BidNet, you would be available to receive online solicitations for procurements in Orange County. Specifically, Orange County and Transit Orange published legal notices in a number of publications. There's a list here on the screen. It includes the Sentinel, the Wallkill Valley Times, the Warwick Advertiser, News of the Highlands, and the Hudson Valley Press. So those are specifically where agencies, where notices for projects and programs are listed, in addition to the online places like the Empire State Purchasing Group BidNet, where you would have to register in advance. You can see a picture on the screen of what that actual BidNet website looks like, so that you can see, you can go right online, Empire State, and register through this process to receive directly RFPs, requests for quotes, and RFIs. Next.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
So,
anybody have any questions on what was presented by myself or Marlene, or in general? Hearing none, I guess that will conclude this webinar. If something does arise in the future and you have a question, you can contact my office. You could call directly. You can call it 845-615-3850, which is the transit line, or you can speak directly to Carrie Scally, who's a planning assistant here in the planning department. And her phone number is 845-615-3866. And I want to thank folks who joined us for participating. Have a good day.